Hello and welcome to GrossiMath.com, where math is for everyone. Today we'll be solving question 10 from the 2017 Algebra 1 STAAR using the TI-Nspire calculator. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we need to see is that the graph of a quadratic function is shown on the grid. Which function is best represented by this graph? So they want us to choose a function. Functions are these equations down here. They have this special notation. That's why they're called a function. A letter, parentheses, and a letter. It's just another way of writing an equation, nothing to be nervous about, and with the TI-Nspire it's very simple to complete. So let's just get right into it. Okay, I'm going to press Control N to start a new problem and put no. And in order to graph this, we're going to use a strategy called GR, which is easy to remember because that's the letters from graph. So the first one you're going to choose is G, which is graph. Okay, and actually we don't even need the R because this is a function. I almost forgot about that. Okay, so now, because it's a function, I do not have to do anything else special. I'm just going to go back. I don't have to press 6. If you've been graphing on the TI-Nspire before, you sometimes press 6. But I don't have to press that because, as you can see on the calculator, it already has a letter, a parentheses, and another letter. So all I need to do in my calculator is make it look like the equation on my paper. So I need to erase these two and put the letter N. Now inside the parentheses, that X right there, that needs to stay there. Okay, so the letter inside the parentheses must stay as being an X. Okay, and now look at my equation that I have here. The first one that I'm going to try out is going to be, we kept an X in the parentheses instead of a G. You have to do that, otherwise the calculator is going to give you a problem. Now, since I changed G to the letter X, guess what I'm going to do with that G? Change it to an X. And all of these G's, no matter how many I graph, I'm going to change them all to X's. The first letter, guys, over here on the left, that's not so important. You can just change it for the calculator, but the X is very important. You have to have it there. Now I'm going to copy in equation 1 and see if it matches the graph. So I'm going to copy the first equation in, choice A, and I'm going to see if it matches the graph. So this has 2 parentheses, x minus 4 to the second power minus 4. Okay, so let's go to the graph. Let me zoom it in so you guys can see. Okay, and I'm just going to type the exact equation in there that I just told you guys. 2 parentheses, x minus 4 parentheses squared minus 4. And when I put that in, here I have a graph. Now this looks pretty tempting, so we need to take a closer look at it. This looks like it might be a match to the graph that I have behind the screen. Let me shrink or move this a little bit so that you guys can see it better. There we go. See? It looks like it might be a match. But what should I do? Well, I should probably check a couple of important points just to make sure that everything is how it seems. So basically, I'm just going to put my little cursor there and take a close look at those tick marks. Okay, so I'm going to put my cursor there and I'm going to check out those marks. And I can see, for example, that this graph on paper is supposed to cross between the number 1 and the number 2, right there on that blue dot. And I can see that this one's supposed to cross between 4 and 5. So that's another good point that I can check to make sure. And then this one has 3 for the x and negative 4 for the y, right there on the vertex. Okay, so let's check those and just make sure they look right. So there's a couple of ways of doing this. The first and easiest way is just to maybe make the tick marks on the graph by putting the little hand right on top of the graph. And you can see, whoops. And you can see now, with those tick marks present, it's hard to do it with my little pen here, but it's probably easier for you guys. There we go. Okay, so what I can see, let me move myself here up there closer to the graph so you guys can see me. There we go. What I can see right here is that when I get on top of the graph, I'm going to try to match those points. Okay, so I can see that this one crosses between, over here on the left, or on the right rather, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, between 5 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So these are 5 and 6 right here. Now on my original graph, if I get out of the way, you can see that that's 4 and 5. So does that seem right? Probably not. This one's supposed to cross between 1 and 2. And that one looks like it's crossing between 3 and 4. I'll move myself again, so you can see what I'm talking about here. It doesn't look like a good match because, look at this. I'm going to put it right on top of here. And there we go. Okay. And 1, 2, and it's between 2 and 3, actually. So there's 1, there's 2, and 3. And right there, those points do not match. Okay. Also the vertex, the x should be 3, but this says 1, 2, 3, 4. And that would be the vertex point. Okay, so that's way off. So that's not a good match, even though it looked tempting in the beginning. It looks like a good match. You see, and that's what you need to do for these problems. Even though they seem easy, don't just say to yourself, oh, okay, well, I'll just graph it and check. Well, yes, you can graph and check, but you have to check the important points to make sure that they look correct. All right, so now for the rest of them, we can move probably a little bit faster just to see which one is going to match all 3 of those points. So let's get rid of the calculator zoom. Okay. Sorry, I keep looking over there, guys. That's where I see everything, and then you guys are over here, and my calculator's over there. So sometimes I have to look over there if I want to make sure that I'm pointing it to you correctly. Okay. So let's take a look closer at choice B. So choice A did not match. Okay, so choice B. Well, for choice B, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to change the first choice around. Let's just erase everything and just copy what we had there. We still have the n and the x, and now we're going to go 2x squared minus 12x plus 14. And okay, now that seems to move it over a little bit to the left, so hopefully that's going to be a better match for us. Okay, so let's see what we get. Now, maybe on this example, what I'll do is I'll show you the way to really make the calculator check those points. So if you don't want to do all that with the tick marks that I just did, you can also go to Menu, 6, and choose the word 0, number 1. A 0 is when it crosses the x-axis. You see, and it gives you this little coloring tool, and you can just color it in. And you can see that that's 1.59. Well, 1.59 is right between 1 and 2, which is exactly what we wanted in our original graph. And then I can do, so that's my first point right there. Let me move this equation out of the way. There we go. Okay, and then I could do it again, Menu 61, and color in the second point. And you can see 4 and 4.1, 4.1 is right between 4 and 5, and that is also what we wanted. And then we're going to go to Menu 6, and the graph has a minimum point. In other words, it comes down to a bottom. So we're going to choose minimum, and that'll show us the vertex. So let's choose right there the minimum. See, it says minimum right there, and 3 and -4. So you can also make the calculator check these points for you. You don't have to do it by hand with the tick marks like I just did. You can also do it this way using the graph analyze function, okay, or Menu 6 as some people call it. Okay, so right here, look, again, I have my important points. Between 1 and 2, this number is between 1 and 2. Between 4 and 5, this number is between 4 and 5. And then this one says 3 and -4, and guess what? That one says 3 and -4. So now I'm very confident that B is the correct answer. So we'll just go ahead and put that as our answer. And that's it. That's exactly how you solve this problem. Okay, so there we go. Boom. B. Okay, so B was the correct answer. We can even go to our web browser. Right here. And we could choose B. And you'll see that it's the correct answer. So let's do that. There you go. And the green check mark means it's correct. All right. So today we learned how to graph a function using the TI-Nspire calculator. Remember to keep the letter inside the parentheses as the letter X. That's very, very important, or you will get calculator errors. We also reviewed how to check the x-intercepts by hand using the little tick marks. But if you cannot count the tick marks for some reason, maybe you had to zoom out or something weird, well, that's okay. Menu 61 will give you the roots or the zeros, the x-intercepts, those little points right there that you wanted. And it will also, menu 60, 4, will give you the minimum value. And that was the vertex. All right, so there you go. That's exactly how you can check a graph like this on your TI-Nspire calculator and make sure that everything looks correct. All right, well, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and to click the bell icon. And of course, to visit the website where math is for everyone, www.grossimath.com. Have a great day, guys.